Ready. Set.
Gamecast.
Well, welcome to Ready, Set, Gamecast, a bi-weekly podcast about video games and the hit movie, The Replacements. I'm Bryce, and I'm joined by the quarterback of the Washington Sentinels and filling in for Darian, Dr. Beckers.
Hi, I'm Beckers.
And a stripper who has been asked to fill in for the cheerleading squad and taking the place of Teddy Chinaris. It's Super Killer Buny.
Yo.
Now, since you're only filling in for one game, we have a unique opportunity to ask you a question a more seasoned professional might scoff at. Is Shane Falco the greatest fictional quarterback name ever?
Yeah, it's pretty good. I've seen The Replacements. That's a movie that I've seen.
It's Shane Falco is played by Keanu Reeves.
I know. That's. I'm impressed. I've actually seen a football movie, and that's it.
It's a very good. It's a good one.
I mean, I think Blake Bortles is probably the best fictional or non-fictional quarterback name of all time.
That's a real one.
I mean, but it's also fictional if you watch The Good Place. If you don't watch The Good Place, go watch The Good Place because it's amazing.
I mean, because it is mentioned in fiction does not mean that
it is. He's a character in this fictional universe.
That's. I'm not sure how any of that. Okay. So if someone mentioned
I'll give
me,
you a few minutes to wrap your brain around that.
If someone mentions me on another show that's fictional, I'm trying to think of a show that's fictional.
If you get mentioned in Brooklyn Nine-Nine,
then I am a fictional character.
Then that mention of you is a fictional character. If they mention you and then you appear on that is a fictional version of you. It may be based on you, but it's still fictional.
There's a show called Episodes starring Matt LeBlanc, which played Joey on Friends, and he plays like a fictional version of himself. He is Matt LeBlanc on the show, but he is not like Matt LeBlanc. He's like a very vain. He basically plays Joey.
It's like Hannah Montana.
It is. Mm-hmm. It's exactly like Hannah Montana in every way.
Mm-hmm. He gets the best of both worlds. So.
Yeah.
P.S. Did anyone else notice that it's the B squad today?
Bryce, Beckers, and Buny.
Yep.
Ooh, I like it.
Yep. Which goes along with the Replacements theme we have going.
I'm Keanu Reeves.
That's
Can I be Patrick Swayze?
No, you're the cheerleader that they brought on because the cheerleading squad is also on strike. Also,
I do have a confession to make. I've never seen The Replacements, the original or the remake, so all these references are way over my head. Like
I'm wondering
any football reference
how
would
well
be.
that movie would play right now, considering it is like kind of anti-unionization and striking.
I mean, if it came out now, that sounds like it would not really be well received.
Yeah, they probably would.
They need a better receiver.
Yep.
They need a wider receiver, I bet.
Yeah.
Speaking of football, which is a game, what games have you been playing, Beckers?
Your mom.
Got him! Oh!
Okay, so I've just been playing the same games I always play, and those include Overwatch and League of Legends. However, I will say that recently I came into possession of a Nintendo Switch. Some dude just gave me one, and
what a weirdo.
Yeah, some weirdo.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and I started playing Tetris 99 and this other game called Pocket Clothier.
Okay. Is it a game about clothing pockets?
It's about well, it's a pocket-sized game because it's also on mobile.
Wait, did you pay for a mobile game on the Switch?
They ported a mobile game on the Switch, and I bought it for like
oh my gosh.
$8, I think. And
And how much is it on mobile?
I don't know. I didn't look. It's amazing, dude. I've played it for so many hours. I opened a clothing store. I built it from the ground up, and it's a game that I've
nice. Okay.
What do you just sell clothes?
Obviously.
You act like just sell clothes. It's like just paint the Sistine Chapel. Like, okay. So
draw the rest of the fucking owl.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the gameplay is. Like, sell me on this game. Sell our audience on this game.
If you're into this type of game, you're gonna love it. You know, it's like the Diner Dash, except it's a clothes store. You know, you build up a clothes store. You build up racks, displays, new floors. You attract different customers. You hire staff. You level them up. That's the type of game it is. You already know if you like this kind of game. This is a
management sim game.
Yeah. If you like this kind of game, you're gonna like this kind of game. That's it.
Sounds like Game Dev Tycoon or
Zoo Tycoon.
Game Dev Story. Zoo Tycoon. Jurassic World, whatever the subtitle of the game is. That's actually pretty good.
Yeah. And at the end of the game, you always let the dinosaurs loose to eat the guests.
Oh, that you're supposed to do that at the end?
Well, it ends the game when you do it, so nobody comes back to your park after that.
That would argue that the movies Jurassic Park 2, 3, and all the other ones don't exist because they keep coming back after the dinosaurs are out.
You sound like you haven't seen 2 and 3.
Yeah, 2 and 3 don't have a park in them.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, they go back to the island where the park was. Well, are we talking world or are we talking park?
It's actually a different... So in 2 and 3, the movies are the same island, I think.
Yeah.
But in the book, in The Lost World, it's a different island.
Oh.
3 is a different island for sure.
Yeah, okay. It's been a long time since I've seen 3 or 2.
For some reason, I saw 3 a whole bunch of times, so I'm actually very familiar with Jurassic
I think
Park
it was
3.
always on TNT or TBS. It was like Legally Blonde and Jurassic Park 3 were like back to back.
And they brought
always.
the paleontologist dude back to the island, and he's pissed because
Right.
he's like, this isn't even they need his help because there's a kid that got lost parasailing on the island, and he's like
Right.
pissed because he's like, I've never even been to this fucking island. What did you bring me here for? I don't know shit about it.
But you know dinosaur,
and they're like,
right?
haha, gotcha. They drop him off, and then they're stranded.
Why are there dinosaurs on a different island?
They migrated.
Yeah. Well, according to the movie, yes, they migrated. In the books, it's been a while since I've read the books as well, but in the books, I believe the island in The Lost World was like the original place where they tested the flora and some of the early dinosaurs, and that ended up kind of like they all started breeding, and then they abandoned that island to found the park on island number 2.
Yep, just like my parents once they'd start fucking.
Abandoned
they abandoned
you for your younger sibling.
I was the youngest, so
Me too.
I was the oldest, so
Well, you're the odd one out.
yeah. I mean, I'm used to that. My parents basically ignored me after my sisters weren't.
So, Bunny,
Yeah.
what video game experiences have you been doing?
Experiencing.
I've been experiencing the wonderful experience of Dota Underlords.
That's that's the auto chess game?
Yeah.
The
I
Dota
may or
one.
may not have a problem. But Dota Underlords, Monster Hunter World, Iceborne, more Dota Underlords, a little bit more Iceborne. Iceborne is amazing if you've played Monster Hunter, or I guess Dauntless. Like if you want the absolute best monster hunting experience possible, Monster Hunter World Iceborne is incredibly good.
Bunny,
Yeah.
is Monster Hunter World just Jurassic Park taken to the very future?
No, definitely not. Monster Hunter World is basically like you're kind of like a tribal type, like humans are kind of tribal, and you're part of this research group that goes from the old world to the new world, and the old world kind of refers to the old style of games, like their world, and you follow these monsters that have been migrating to this new continent, essentially. And start discovering a bunch of new monsters that have never been in Monster Hunter games before.
Just
and
like Jurassic
things
Park.
are going on, except they weren't genetically recreated.
I mean, do we know that? Did they go like, oh,
Yes, we know these are indigenous species to this world.
To be fair, dinosaurs were
they are the apex
indigenous
predators. They were, but these did not go extinct and then get recreated from mosquito blood. Okay,
it's not the mosquito's blood.
Well, yeah, the dinosaur blood is in the mosquitoes. Okay, if we're getting all technical here, I'm just gonna leave.
Possession is 9/10 of the law. It's the mosquito's blood.
It is the mosquito's
you're right.
blood.
It is the mosquito's blood now.
Thank you. Anyway, Iceborne introduces a bunch of new mechanics. Like each weapon gets like a couple of new moves that change up the combos and stuff that you can do with each weapon type. There's a ton of new monsters. I think it almost doubles the number of monsters, if not more, that were in the base game. And it's all super gorgeous and super fun and super hard, which everybody who's gotten to the point where they're at expansion content is ready for. So I'm loving it. It's arguably my game of the year, and it's just an expansion. So
I should buy it and start with it. Since it's the best of the content, so I should jump in.
Yeah, Monster Hunter World Iceborne, like complete edition or whatever it's called. Like you can get the whole game for you can get Monster Hunter World and Iceborne, I think, for the price of the base game originally was like $60, I think. It comes out on PC in January. It's been out for about a month or so now, a little bit more than that, like 6 weeks on consoles.
It is weird that games seem to do that lately, like Red Dead Redemption, and I think most Rockstar games, that they release the PC game later.
This is the first time that this studio at Capcom has done a PC release. So they delayed the PC launch originally from the consoles to make sure that they did a good PC port. And they're doing the same thing with the Iceborne expansion to make sure all of that content is ready to go for PC with some good PC settings and PC friendly kind of quality of life things. So yeah, but other than that, and Underlords, I dabbled a little bit in Link's Awakening. I'm really torn because the game's beautiful when it runs, but I don't know if it's just me, but I know some people aren't having it as bad as me, but I am constantly getting frame rate drops it drops from 60 all the way to 30 and then back up. It's all over the place. So it's like almost unplayable for me. And then Dragon Quest XI S Definitive Edition, or whatever that mouthful is gorgeous and wonderful, and that runs like a dream. So it's way better looking than Link's Awakening, so I don't know what's going on there. Played a little bit of Destiny, some Rocket League, and dabbled in a game that's fairly new, I think, called Children of Morta, which is a cool roguelike with some cool story elements, and like you play as a whole family. So like each family member has their own skills and weapon type that they use, and as you level them up, you get perks for them specifically, as well as perks that benefit everybody in the family. So it's pretty interesting. I'm enjoying that quite a bit. It's, I think, currently on PC, Xbox One, and PS4. So check that out. It currently has local multiplayer only, but is getting online multiplayer as well. So it's cool. It's good. Would recommend.
Those are a series of video game experiences.
Yeah, those are many experiences that I experienced recently in my experience.
I have been in heavy preparations for my Extra Life stream, which will be the day after this podcast releases. And so I've been testing and playing games that will be related to that. I have been playing Artemis Bridge Simulator. And if you know of Star Trek Bridge Crew, it's kind of like that, but Artemis came first. I'm pretty sure Star Trek. So it's kind of like playing a Star Trek game, but they did not want to shell out for Star Trek licensing. So they just kind of were like, here is a starship. This is not Star Trek. This is Artemis, not the Enterprise. And it's all fine. But you're very much each player can they can control multiple roles, but basically it's designed so that you can play with like a bunch of people each controlling a different part of a bridge. And if you watch Star Trek, you'll be familiar with many of these roles. You'll have Helm, who flies the ship. You'll have weapons, shooting stuff and targeting people. You will have communications, somebody to hail ships, coordinate with other ships, and that both involves things like talking to allied ships and being like, hey, can you go here, help us out, defend this, so and so. There's also stuff like, hey, hail the space station, go, hey, we need another nuke, and they'll can build that. But also you can hail enemy ships, and you do have the option of asking them to surrender. So if you're in a battle with them, you can go like, hey, give up, and then they might surrender and leave. Also you can just like insult them, which I have I played at one point, and we basically just used that because we had mines. And mines do a lot of damage, but you have to get them to run into them. So we basically we were running away from them. We just kept swearing at them and just being like, your mom sucks. And they'd be like, I'm going to come full speed ahead. Let's blow them up. And then we would shoot mines out our back at them, and they kept running into them. So we just had to like swear at them and shoot mines, and we wanted using that. We
debated.
There's the engineering, which will control both the damage crew, which I've messed a little bit with that. I'm not 100% sure. Like, you can see what is damaged, and I think you might be able to tell the damage, the engineers where to go, to where to focus their efforts, but you do have control over where power goes. So maybe you want to push power to the front shields. You're going to be like, hey, no one's shooting our back. Let's put all power to front shields, or all power to weapons, or, move stuff around. And I think that's... Oh, Science Officer. They have the ability to identify ships that are not nearby. You can figure out, is that a friendly ship? Is that a space monster? And then you can... First scan identifies them. Second scan will give you more information about them. And will tell you, like, which shield frequency is the weakest of theirs, so that they can communicate that information to the weapons officer, and then they can set their phasers to that frequency to do more damage.
Set phasers to stun.
Yeah. And then so you have all those roles, and then if you're doing like a full crew, then you would have a captain who is not doing anything of their own. They're just, kind of coordinating, commanding stuff. And each person is playing on their own device. And this is designed to be played like everybody in the same room. There are some ways, I think, to play online, but it's kind of convoluted. But yeah, I've played a few matches of it to kind of get the hang of each console, because on Extra Life Day, we're gonna have a bunch of people come in, and I'm gonna, just be like, okay, you are a communications officer, and I need to be able to be like, here's what you need to do. Like, it's the graphics and stuff are very simple, but it's really dynamic and interesting. We did a few modes that were just like, people are coming into your space, you have to like take out the enemies before they blow up your space stations. But last night I played a cool mode that was called Border War. So there's, on your side, you've got, your allies and your space stations, and then there's the neutral zone in the middle. And then on the other side is the enemies and all their ships and their space stations. And after a little bit, where war is declared, and then you can then go into the neutral zone, and both sides can cross the neutral zone and attack each other. And it's cool because in that mode you have to balance like defending your stuff and attacking the other side. Which you can put monsters in the game, which are like these, space creatures. I've seen space dragons. I've seen what are called like God, what's the little fish that like eats other smaller fish?
Predators.
A shark?
No, it's a little guy. It's a little guy that people keep as like pets. But
Nemo.
Piranha.
Yeah, there's a lot of like space piranhas. And like I was like looking on the map, and I saw.
said that as a joke. People don't keep piranhas as pets, Bryce.
You know that there's a lot of fish out there that eat other fish.
Okay,
it's like most fish eat other fish.
But
yeah.
I know someone who kept a piranha as a fish. I know, like, because
as a fish.
Yes, as a pet.
I keep my piranha as a dog, but
yeah.
It's my dog. But yeah, there was space piranhas. Like, we looked on the map and we're like, oh, one of our allies is missing. Oh wait, and there's space piranhas where they used to be. I wonder if that's related.
Nah.
But there's these I think they're called like biomech ships, but based on the way they look, I just call them fish ships. And depending on their age, how like there's different stages of development.
It's never polite to ask a fish their age.
Well, okay. There's stage 3 fish ships, biomech ships, that are like super aggressive to anything that gets near them. So when we were doing Border War, I was basically just I would like stay on the other side of the neutral zone because the fish ship was just going up and down the neutral zone. So I would just try and stay exactly on the other side of the neutral zone and yell swears at the enemy forces to try and coax them nearby the fish ship, because fish ship eventually I just stayed clear of fish ship, and I guess eventually fish ship went over to the other side and started attacking those guys, and he cleared out 90% of their forces for us. And then we just kind of like, once fish ship kind of cleared out their forces and started going away, we kind of swooped in and blew up their bases. So it's a really cool, like, dynamic game. You have a lot of customization. There are like scripted missions that you can download, but it's kind of a cool like game if you have a bunch of friends. I've heard it described.
Well, I can't play then.
Okay.
And I don't know anybody else.
I've heard it described as kind of like Dungeons and Dragons, but with, Star Trek. So it's a kind of cool game if you want to check that out, or if you want to see what it's like. October 26th, starting at 8 a.m. I will tell you more about it later, but my Extra Life stream, I'll look at the schedule to tell you when we'll be playing Artemis, but it's on there. Also, another game that we'll be playing for Extra Life is a game called Knowledge is Power. This was one of the PlayStation's PlayLink games. Buny, do you remember PlayLink?
I still use a PlayLink game.
What's that?
Called Ticket to Ride.
Oh, did that uses PlayLink?
It does. Well, maybe it's not PlayLink, but it works just like that. You have an app on your phone for that game specifically, and it connects to the PlayStation, and you make your, like, that holds, if you've played Ticket to Ride, you have, so basically your goal is to, like, you get these tickets that say, like, go from Washington, D.C. to San Francisco or something, right? And you have to build a train using train cards, and there's a bunch of cards in the middle that you, like, pick one or two of each turn that you go around, or you build a train from, like, one city to an adjacent city, and you try to connect as many of these tickets as you can get to win. So basically the phone or your device ends up being your, like, the hand of cards that you have, and how you place and play train cards and stuff. So it works out really, really well. I play that with my parents. They love Ticket to Ride. So,
oh, nice.
Yeah, it's an easy way to play a board game with 0 board game setup time, and, like, all of the boards that you can get for Ticket to Ride. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I know that, like, you know, Jackbox had been out for a while, and then, you know, PlayStation announced PlayLink, and it's like, oh, they're kind of trying to take advantage of that. But Jackbox is really popular with streamers. PlayLink only works with people on the same Wi-Fi connection, but it also, like, brings life, like, makes the games more interesting than if you were playing on a controller. So for, like, Knowledge is Power, it is a trivia game, and during the trivia game, you will all be asked a question. You'll get 4 options on what to select, and each turn you can throw things at the other players that will make it more challenging. Like, you can throw slime at another player, and then they will have to, like, wipe away slime from their phone to be able to see what the possible choices are. There's also ice, where they'll have to, like, hit the answer several times to break the ice and actually select it. There's bombs, where if they'll be, like, floating around. If you accidentally hit a bomb, you'll be taken to a different screen, and not be able to select. It adds a level of interactivity to the game that would not be possible on a normal controller, and it's really cool. Like, I think it's like $10 or something.
Yeah, I think that's super cheap.
Yeah, and it's a really fun, well made. Like, my girlfriend is just, like, after playing it once, she's just like, this is awesome, and wants to play more. So if you're having a party, you download the Knowledge is Power specific app from your app store, and then you load up the game, and then it knows that you're playing. It's connected to the Wi-Fi, and then you just type in your name, you take a cute picture, and go. Very much would recommend. A game that I would less recommend, I have this game on Steam, but I was looking at games for Extra Life, and I was looking at Gamecast and saw Old Man's Journey. And so Old Man's Journey it's got this, like, really cool art style that's kind of maybe watercolory. It's definitely like a drawing type aesthetic, and it basically, the way it works is it is about a guy traveling somewhere. I haven't finished it yet, but as you progress through, he kind of has flashbacks of his life, him kind of meeting his wife and them having a kid. And I assume as you kind of go on, you kind of learn how he got where he is. And he's going somewhere, which is not 100% clear.
He doesn't even know where he's going.
Maybe he's just wandering. But the gameplay is basically there are these mountains in the background, and you have to adjust how they line up so that he can kind of, if they line up in a way that the edge of one meets another, then he can jump from one to the other and kind of make progress. And you're just kind of moving the mountains up and down and trying to figure out, like, okay, if this is here, he'll be able to go here and move around. But much of the time, like, early on, it was like, okay, this is pretty simple. And then early on, I just kind of found myself frustrated, just kind of moving stuff. And there's also, like, more mechanics that are added in. Like, at the point I'm in, there are walls that he can't get over, but there will be barrels that you have to use the mountains to move to make the barrel roll so it knocks over the wall. It feels kind of slow.
It sounds like a puzzle game.
Yeah, it is a puzzle game, but it didn't really feel satisfying to solve the puzzles. I think, and this, like, story wasn't, like, motivating me to keep going. It kind of, seemed because basically what you were getting for story was you get just like a little, like, scene. You get just like a picture, and it would be like him at a table with his kid and wife, and the wife looks real angry and stuff, and you're kind of like figuring out what's happening based on each picture, the flashback that you get. And it was like, okay, I'm the art style is cool, but the gameplay and the story just was not motivating me enough to really keep playing. But yeah, it's free on Game Pass. If moving mountains around to try and progress is something you'd be interested, if you're just, like, kind of looking for something super, super chill, maybe that'd be up your alley. But I kind of found the later, probably mid-game, based on where the story was, puzzles to be kind of frustrating. But a game that I think I'm going to have a lot of fun with, that I picked up on my Nintendo Switch, is called Heave Ho. And basically this is a physics-focused game where you are kind of this creature with a head and two arms, and you are controlling the arms and just kind of grabbing and throwing yourself around to be able to get to the goal. And they do have a single-player mode. They definitely are pushing the multiplayer, the party style mode, where you would then, like, grab onto other characters and, like, throw each other to the destinations. But yeah, it's just, like, it's very simple and to learn and kind of a fun deal. Also, you can fart. There's a button that allows you to fart. So it's comedy gold right there. I've played.
You sold me right there.
Yeah.
Where is this?
It is available.
That's the only thing I wanted from Untitled Goose Game. My goose couldn't fart, so
only squawk.
Done.
I have only played probably 5 missions on it. I will say this is a thing that upsets me in any, like, really cool party game, is it does not have online multiplayer. Like, who plays with people in their human space anymore?
I don't have friends. How many times do I have to say it?
I don't know people. I don't know anybody. So
this was all a figment of your imagination. Well,
yeah, for all I know, I'm dead.
Well, maybe in the news we'll have some information on how people can play some couch co-op games with people online. But first, I want to hear what some sort of competitive Pokemon player thinks of new Pokemon Sword and Shield news.
Wow, what a good coincidence, because sitting right in front of you is a competitive Pokemon player right here. That's me. I won a tournament once.
Congratulations.
I felt good, and it was the shining moment of my life.
How many people were in the tournament?
Like 20.
Okay. That's
a real tournament. Okay.
That's a number.
At least one of them was a child who built his team that day, so. But.
So he's never played Pokemon since?
Probably because I pushed him, crushed him into the dirt. with my fist. I actually never played him.
Hey, I got into the semifinals of a Injustice tournament after beating a 7-year-old.
Hey, way to go.
I will say
7-year-olds
We take
deserve
those.
it.
I will say the person before me was using a fighting stick and set the controls to his custom.
To kill.
Yes, to his custom settings, and I did not know that going in, so because it had not been reset, so most of the buttons, I was like, oh, I will do this move, and it was not working. The buttons were not doing what I wanted them to do. But
I feel
luckily,
like that shouldn't be allowed to change the settings.
well, that they do it.
Usually a fight stick like that has to be customized somehow.
Yeah.
So it probably wasn't customized for macros, but it was maybe customized for 1 button presses, 2 button presses. When on fighting games on console controllers, you have right bumper is actually X and B together or something, weird combinations that are hard to do or that you might do often. So it makes it a little bit easier.
Okay, I feel that. So I have buttons like that for Overwatch, actually.
Yeah, they should have reset it between players, which I did not know going in that would be a thing I had to contend with. And about halfway through the match, I realized, oh wait, somebody probably changed the stuff. Luckily, I managed to button spam and beat the 7-year-old. and then I managed to reset the thing and then beat him quite handily in the second match. But
Quite handily, indeed.
But yeah, I got into the semifinals. But Beckers, Pokemon Sword and Shield, it's a new Pokemon game, and now there's big ones. Tell me.
Yes, so that's the new news. They came out with a new trailer for Pokemon Sword and Shield, and in the trailer there were big Pokemons. It's a thing. In this game, there's Gigantamax forms, and they just showed what some of them look like for Eevee and Pikachu.
Fat Pikachu's back.
Pika Pika.
Fat Pikachu has been neglected ever since they made the anime. Pikachu used to be fat. I've got a Pokemon card with Fat Pikachu, and they made him skinny, and I don't approve of
They've
fat
been
shaming.
starving Pikachu for all of these years. Now he's basically one of those runway Pikachus, but the Gigantamax form makes him fat again.
It's his
That's
true
why
form.
Pikachu was so weak in the anime, was because he was malnourished.
He stores all his electricity in his fat folds.
Yep.
Exactly.
And for some reason, the Meowth form is a really
He's
long.
a long boy.
Yeah, he's a long boy. They did this with Executor.
Alolan Executor.
Yeah.
Yes, and now they did it with Meowth, and I feel like it just fits. It fits a lot less,
Hold on. I just had a thought. What about when you Gigantamax an Alolan Executor?
I don't even know what's gonna happen. I don't know. Are there gonna be Alolans in this game?
I mean, we don't know what the full Pokedex is, so
we don't even know. Probably there won't be Alolans.
Catch some of them.
We will find out.
We'll find out. But it does say in this news article, well, and also in the trailer, it says you can only get some of them. You can only get the Pikachu if you get it from certain records.
Bonus.
Yeah, I think
that's from Let's Go Pikachu. You have to play a different
you have to
game.
use the
Same thing with the Eevee. And I'm like, that's stupid.
I believe how it's going to work is basically if they see that on your Switch that there is data that you played, Let's Go Pikachu or Let's Go Eevee, then they'll just be like, hey, there's Pikachu, here you go. And then the Meowth is only available to people who purchase the game within the first 2 months, I believe.
Yeah, it's like purchase and play within those first... Let's see, in the article it says players will need to select the get via internet option in mystery gift between Friday, November 15th, 2019 to Wednesday, January 15th, 2020 if they want this long cat with a big coin.
Yeah, the Meowth isn't so bad because you're buying the game anyway, right? But I feel like it's shysty to give people gameplay advantages for spending more money on different games. I think that's shysty.
I mean, yeah.
And maybe they'll be poop and it'll just be like a cute gimmick. But I'm still salted.
So from a competitive point of view, what do you think of Gigantamaxing? Have you seen how it all works?
It said that, honestly, it seems like kind of busted because the Gigantamax Pikachu, it says paralyzes all opponents.
Yeah.
And that's huge. I mean, we'll see what the other Gigantamax stuff does, but
I mean, yeah,
but that's fucking huge.
Every Gigantamax Pokemon seems to have his own. Well, I guess not everyone, because it seems that a lot of. I don't think every Gigantamax Pokemon has an alternate form. Just several of them have alternate forms.
Like Thick Boy and Long Boy.
Yeah. I think Gigantamax.
That Charizard looks cool.
Oh yeah, the Charizard is dope, and his attack is so sick.
The Eevee's attack is like a group cuddle.
Oh yeah,
and it's only effective against opposite gender opponents, which is
useless.
I'll have you know, very exclusionary Pokemon.
Sexist.
What is the gender of your Pokemon? Hold on, I need to figure out my battle strategy.
Well, joke's on you. My Pokemon only into the same gender, so now what?
Yeah.
My Pokemon are all genderless. No. I only play with a team full of Magnemites.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think.
How does that work now? I bet it doesn't work then, yeah.
Yeah.
That's OP. Magnemite OP.
But yeah, Gigantamax, I think, only lasts like 3 turns, and you can only do it once per match. So you can only go hard once, but...
Yeah, it's like a Z move.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really liked Z moves. I liked them a lot better than Mega.
Cool. I don't like the temporary evolutions really. Like, I don't know. That just seems weird to me in Pokemon.
It's some Digimon-esque stuff.
Exactly. Digimon is like the temporary, like, let's go up and down and like all over the place. Let's like that. I don't know. It seems really weird to me in Pokemon to have a temporary evolution.
Well, and then, like, the Mega form, like, sometimes it wasn't good to make something Mega. Like, Gengar,
yeah.
If you did Mega Gengar, it wasn't
as good as Gengar. It wasn't
levitating anymore.
Yeah.
So it was vulnerable to, like, Earthquake and shit. Like,
yeah.
Okay, so Mega Gengar sucks. It's like...
yeah.
In a Groudon meta, these kids these days.
God.
All these kids.
How do they not know the meta?
How do they not know the meta?
Don't they know it's 3 Warrior,
My very first
Hunter?
ever Pokemon tournament... Rachel just handed me her DS and I played with her team.
Oh.
And she tried to tell me what the moves did. This was a different tournament.
Oh, okay.
It was a different tournament. And she just handed me her DS. She tried to explain like what Pokemon was what and like what the moves were. I actually got second place. And like the guy I was up against, he's like, oh, yours must be a max speed Kyogre too. And I was like, yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
And they're like, and I tried to use Toxic on a Steel type, and they're like, oh, you forgot. And I was like, I forgot. You can't do that. Yeah, I definitely forgot. It's not that I never knew.
Pro player.
It's not that I've never played Pokemon before. And then I got second place out of like 10 people. I was like, this is embarrassing for all of you.
A while back they
all
did
of these other people.
during the Pokemon Championships a while back they did make like a trailer that is like, hey, here's all the like competitive and like moves and stuff that exist, or competitive items that have like fancy effects. But that's been a while. I just wanted to
items were beyond me for that tournament. I just ignored that.
Yeah, I just want to talk about the long cat and the fact that I had Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu. My girlfriend had Eevee, but on the physical one. And for Smash Brothers, they were like, hey, you'll get a special spirit for if you played Pikachu and Eevee. Like, so I was like, hey, I'm going to start a quick game of Eevee so I can get the spirit. And now not only do I get the spirit, I get Eevee and Sword and Shield. So it's cool.
Cool for you.
It is.
Yeah.
For the rest of us.
It is. I'm the greatest gamer
Didn't
ever.
buy those games.
Well, I am going to be buying a PlayStation 5 when that is released to the public, and be playing on a sick new controller that they have announced. On the PlayStation blog, they are talking about their new controller. They say, first, we're adapting haptic feedback to replace the rumble technology found in controllers since the 5th generation of consoles. With haptics, you will truly feel a broader range of feedback. So crashing into a wall in a race feels much different than making a tackle on a football field. HD Rumble coming to PlayStation. You heard it here first. And also on the PlayStation blog.
You might have actually read it on the PlayStation blog first, but
you heard it
we're going to
with
ignore
your ears
that.
Here first, unless you said it out loud. The second innovation is something they are calling adaptive triggers, which have been incorporated into the trigger buttons. Developers can program the resistance of the triggers so you can feel the tactile sensation of drawing a bow, an arrow, or accelerating an off-road vehicle through rocky terrain. In combination with the haptics, this can produce a powerful experience that better simulates various actions. Game creators have started to receive early versions of the new controller, and we can't wait to see where their imagination goes with the new features at their disposal. We get new fancy controllers for the PlayStation 5. Bunny, you excited?
I'm honestly, I'm excited for the technology. I hope these adaptive triggers are like kind of like a force feedback joystick was back in the day. Honestly, I don't know if I'll buy a PlayStation 5.
What?
So, I mean, yeah, I this sounds crazy, but I've gotten so into my PC and I love playing with it and tinkering with it so much that I'd rather spend the money on new PC components, you know?
PC Master Race.
PC.
You gotta have a PC and a PS4. You don't need an Xbox because any of the good Xbox games are coming to PC. But
depending on what they announce on PS5, like if PlayStation 5 comes out and they're like Last of Us 3 launch title, I'd be like, hell yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'll have to see. But as iterative as it seems to be going, like it's definitely a large jump up in hardware capability for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But in terms of the technology that it's utilizing and the way that a lot of games are mostly like cross-platform, with the exception of some of those PlayStation exclusives, which are great. I mean, The Last of Us is, I would argue, the greatest game anybody's ever made. But like there's, I don't know, like it's going to have something really compelling. Actually, one game that would get me to buy it day one when this game comes out is Bloodborne 2. Like if they just said Bloodborne 2 is coming to PlayStation 5, I will buy a PlayStation 5 day one. I don't care if I buy any other games for it. I will buy it as soon as that game comes out. So, but other than that, like, I don't know. Like it seems to be more PC like hardware, and I just like tinkering with my hardware way too much.
I think like these features are really, really cool. Honestly, like
They are cool for sure.
HD Rumble on the Switch is really cool.
Is it? I turned it off.
I remember getting 1-2 Switch just to play the little ball game, and like it's not so good that you can go, there's 3 balls in here. You were kind of randomly guessing, but it did feel like there were balls rolling around. You could get
so
that
you like
much.
playing with your balls.
Yep.
I like tinkering with hardware.
But I think the coolness of this is going to come down to how much the developers use it, because I mean, the PlayStation 4 controllers have the speaker in it and the touchpad, but those hardly get used.
Yeah, the speaker is annoying. I turn it off because I always play games with headphones on. So go away with your speakers.
I have it on, and I did not know I had it on because most games don't use it until I was playing Kingdom Hearts 3, and like there was a moment where like it kind of the game was just quiet and stuff, and then I just heard like characters talking, and I was like, wait, what? And I'm like, oh, it's coming from my controller. This is sick. Like it kind of like broke the fourth wall for me in a really cool, well, kind of, I guess it's like breaking the fourth wall is kind of like making you aware that it's a game, but it kind of like due to it coming out of the controller, it kind of pulled me into the game. It's kind of a reverse fourth wall break.
It was more immersive for you that way.
Yeah, because it kind of felt, and I think this was kind of the way it was designed. It kind of felt like they were talking to me instead of, just coming through the console or coming through my TV.
Right.
So when used well, it's very, very cool, and we'll see how well these features get used. But I think Better Rumble, if it's used well, could be very, very cool.
Better Rumble haptic technology has come a long way, like in the new iPhones, since like the iPhone 7 or 8, I think, like they've had some haptic feedback, or it like feels like you're clicking a button even though there's not a button anywhere on that screen, right? Like HD Rumble is super cool and is basically just like a step below haptic feedback on that level. If they use it right, it could be really cool. I would be more excited for, like I said, force feedback in the triggers, like an old force feedback joystick used to have, where it like actually has resistance that like pulls adjusts the resistance of the trigger automatically, or like pushes back against your finger. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Anything that if they can make the game more immersive through the way the controller works, that'll be really cool. And that seems like what they're trying to do with these new controller updates. So it will be very cool. But some people just want to play their games on PC, on Steam. And maybe they'll have a new way to play multiplayer games. Bunny, what is that?
So Steam is rolling out a feature that allows you to play local multiplayer only Steam games called Remote Play Together. Not to be confused with Remote Play on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation Vita, and now a bunch of other things that you can download that on. But Steam Remote Play Together is going to be a cool way to play games like right now Children of Morta that I mentioned earlier only has local co-op. But with Remote Play Together, you could have your friend remote in and play the game with you as the second character. So
I think it basically tricks the game into thinking that they are there too. And
it's basically a remote second controller input. Which that technology exists. You can do it with third-party applications already, but having it baked into Steam will be very, very nice.
This is a cool feature, but it is also, I think, an internet-intensive feature. I mean, any of these remote play features are like, I think you can technically do that. There's the pass the controller function in PS4 where you can be like, hey, play the game for me or play with me. Like they have this on PS4, but it often breaks if you don't both have very good internet. So when it works, like, this is awesome. Like, I can think of a bunch of games that, like Overcooked 1 does not have online multiplayer, but you would be able to...
Enter the Gungeon doesn't have online multiplayer. That blew my mind, because that game is so multiplayer friendly that the fact that it didn't have online multiplayer or online co-op at all, I was a little shocked.
Yeah,
so when I heard that.
So them allowing a way for you to play these is cool, but I think it's at the end of the day, if both of you don't have a very strong internet connection, you're probably going to end up with drop connections and a lot of issues, because it's going
Sad times.
Yeah.
Lots of tears.
It's going to need to transmit your gameplay, because they'll have to see your screen. It'll have to transmit both, like, the player's controller buttons very, very quickly, and it'll be a lot, but exciting for people who can pull it off.
So me and Bryce can finally play Overcooked 1.
Yep, we'll probably try it. We will see how well it is. I'm not holding my breath until Beckers gets this fiber she keeps saying.
February.
Ooh.
Fiber is coming to my area.
The only downside when that does work, I would think, is that you can't reach out and punch the other person.
Yeah, that's the real downside.
But you can still verbally abuse them, which is all you need to do in Overcooked.
That's true.
So much verbal abuse.
Well, I don't know how to make this transition. Hey.
Next one.
I had a transition set up, but then people kept talking, and then I lost it because we're not saying the same words we just were.
Okay. Let's stop talking now.
Okay. Ubisoft is developing a Blood Dragon cartoon as well as a Watch Dogs cartoon designed for teenage people. The plans, and this is from a Polygon article by Michael McKenter. I'm going to assume that's...
McWhirter?
Maybe. It says... the plans include family-friendly animated shows based on Ubisoft's Rabbids, which I did see that on Netflix recently. I was like, they made a Rabbids show? Okay. Isn't that... I mean, Rabbids
like
are basically
Raven
minions.
Rabbids?
Yeah, Raven's
That's
Rabbids.
Weird.
The Watch Dogs spin-off, described as a cyber mystery, has a cartoonish concept art featuring a preteen girl standing in the halls of Ada Lovelace Middle School with her hacker alter ego reflecting in the floor below her. Like, Watch Dogs, you straight up shoot people a lot. I mean, you can try and be nonviolent, but I think there are sections of that game where you do have to straight up murk a dude.
And?
I thought that was just a game about watching dogs.
I think that's Nintendo Dogs that you're thinking of.
Okay.
So it's weird that they're slapping their brand on that, but fine, I guess. My belief that a show targeting preteens will be good is very, very low. I was excited for Carmen Sandiego, but that one was bad. It was bad, and I hate it.
Mm-hmm.
But Ubisoft will be making a show based on the Blood Dragon game, which was a spin-off of Far Cry 3, which is apparently called, and this is such a sick name, Captain Laserhawk, a Blood Dragon vibe.
That is really, really cool.
Yeah.
That they're going back to Blood Dragon, because the last thing we got from Blood Dragon, which was also badass, was Trials of the Blood Dragon, which was a crossover of the Trials games, like Trials HD, and Far Cry Blood Dragon. Is really cool. Really cool art, really cool setting. I'm excited for more Far Cry Blood Dragon stuff.
The series is being created in partnership with Ada Shankar, the producer of Netflix Castlevania and the upcoming Devil May Cry animated series, which, if you've watched Netflix's Castlevania show, that one frickin' bangs. According to the Hollywood Reporter, the Captain Laserhawk will form a multiverse with other Ubisoft titles.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all I have to say about that is okay. So stay tuned for that. And now I want us all to stay tuned for Buny telling us what's going on with Blizzard.
Oh boy.
All right.
Here it comes.
All right, so there's some things going on in Hong Kong, right? That's your backstory. Hong Kong is basically being oppressed by the Chinese government, and people want that to stop, right? So, Hearthstone player who won a bunch of stuff at this tournament, some money, like I think he won the whole tournament, right? He in his interview, he wore a mask that has been banned in Hong Kong by the Chinese government, and then shouted free Hong Kong, basically Hong Kong sympathies and protests, right? In support of that. And I
mean, he is a Hong Kong based player,
yes.
so he is very much supporting the place he's from. Yeah, you know.
Right. So he used his post-game interview to support the protesters demonstrating. He was basically suspended for a year, and they stripped all of his of his winnings from him.
Yeah.
And this caused a ton of ripples.
A huge backlash from many angles.
Not only politically and publicly is Blizzard now kind of they almost went 180 from being, oh, it's Blizzard, they make great games and support these games for a long time, to, oh my god, Blizzard, fuck Blizzard, free Hong Kong. Like, everybody, public opinion took a complete 180, and there's been some backpedaling. There's been some other people supporting them, or supporting the Hong Kong protesters. Other Hearthstone players in tournaments have also made either statements or put up, like the AU team put up a free Hong Kong sign on their on the official stream.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I think like, obviously you have people who are supporting Hong Kong, which is, you know, these people are going through some serious stuff. But then on that same note, this person being suspended, having his winnings lost, is also a free speech issue. So if you are either way, you're probably going like, hey, Blizzard's like real shitty for their actions, either way that you feel about it. Right.
So we kind of rolled back a little bit, right? Everybody kind of took a breather for a couple days. Blizzard took a breather for a couple days.
Yeah, everybody else was like, fuck Blizzard.
The internet did not take a breather. It stayed the same for a couple of days there while Blizzard stepped back, and they released a statement that said, hey, we overreacted. This punishment seems harsh. He didn't cheat or break the rules during gameplay, so we are giving him back his winnings.
Yeah,
and reducing his sentence from 12 months to 6 months. So they cut his suspension in half. And then a few days later, like maybe a week later almost, they announced that they had suspended the other team, the AU team, from professional play in their league for the same amount of time, for 6 months.
Can we take a quick second to talk about the thing that they are saying they are like the rule that he is breaking, that they are suspending people for, is basically there's a rule in there that says don't do something that will make us look bad.
That's the first rule that they cited.
Yeah, it's there. It is very generic. It is very like, there's not a like, oh, this is what I have to do to not do it. It's like, don't do anything that makes us look bad, and that is the rule that he has broken. And it's like, it's a stupid rule, and
it is like it's something so vague I don't think should really be in a rule book. But
that's why it's there.
Is. Yeah,
they can suspend
it's there
they
so
want
they can
anytime.
say, we're gonna just do this. Like, he could have just not. Like, it could have been a normal interview, and they could have been like, "Oh, we think that makes us look bad." So you know,
and they're because they've done it once. Anybody who is doing the same thing, they are trying to follow up and do it too.
So now they've clarified a little bit on their clarified and matched the punishment for the other team that's broken this rule. They essentially are asking people to keep the focus on the game when they're on the official channels, right? Which I can understand, but also it's some free speech issues. Like, there's all sorts of like things on both sides of this, and I don't think Blizzard's going to come out on top of this one for a little while at least, because they've already canceled a launch event for Overwatch on Switch. They canceled the launch event at the Nintendo World Store in New York.
Yeah, I mean, we've also seen several casters have quit. I've seen a lot of people talk about deleting their Blizzard accounts, and there is some full scale boycotting on Blizzard.
Bigger
due to
than
this.
most internet boycotts, right? This isn't the yearly Call of Duty boycott. This is like people are deleting accounts, like requesting accounts to be deleted that have existed for 15 years with World of Warcraft, or even before that. Like, getting like, people are legitimately upset about this because it is such a hot issue. China's a hot issue in general, with the NBA and all sorts of other things going on there that don't vibe with everybody. I mean, what do you think? What do you guys think?
I mean, I do want to say one last bit is the U.S. Congress has stepped in, and it's big when the Congress is weighing in. Like we've seen this with how bad loot boxes were when they were like, should we legislate this? And
should we legislate this?
Yeah, and
this is gambling for children.
And several members of Congress, including U.S. Senator Wyden, Marco Rubio, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez,
AOC.
Yeah,
you know her.
Michael Egger and Tom Malinsky wrote a letter to Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick, asking the company to reverse course. We urge you in the strongest terms to reconsider your decision with respect to Mr. Chung. Because they reduced his sentence, but he is still currently banned from Hearthstone play. Yeah. So this, I would argue that this is a international incident that they have done by doing this, and this is literally a Streisand effect situation, that if they had let it roll, if they had just like off camera gone like, hey, this is not okay, and moved on, most people would not know about this. Like, unless you had just happened to be watching, the people who are watching already saw it, but now everyone knows, everyone's talking about it. It is the message has been magnified way further than it would have been if they had just ignored it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
so true. That's so true.
Yeah. Oof.
They bungled that one.
Yeah. And yeah, I think the biggest, when is BlizzCon?
Beginning of November.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's coming up very soon. I think that is going to be the true tell of how bad this is. We're seeing Blizzard try and like stop any big event that we might be protested. They canceled the New York City event and other stuff, but I don't think they're gonna cancel BlizzCon.
I don't think they can cancel BlizzCon.
Yeah, but
that's
it'll be big, and it does not seem like what they have done is as much as they're willing to do. They will not apologize. They will not
right, and none of their official communications have apologized in any way.
Yeah, I mean they can't, because if they did, then they would have to say that like he's not wrong,
right?
And that's where we are. So it's personally, this is the same as the football player protests where people were kneeling and stuff. These are athletes. I mean, esports athletes doing what using their free speech during a place where they have the spotlight. You know, there are a lot of people who during the football protests where people were taking the knee going like, oh, why don't you just do that in your free time? And be like, they have been given the spotlight because of their skills, and they are making use of that for what they believe is right. Like, yeah, they can go yell liberate Hong Kong out their bedroom window, but it's not going to have the same effect as it does when you are center stage in the Hearthstone.
Well, and it's not like they're doing it during the games or anything. It's not like they're jumping off the edge of the map or something in an Overwatch game and saying like, "Hey, free Hong Kong." Like they're not. They're doing it like post game or outside of the
he won the big
it was
game.
Already over. It kind of almost is his free time. I don't know, he could maybe do it not on an actual broadcast
they handed him the mic, and I mean it should be the casters knew what he was going to say. They literally were like, okay, say what you're going to say. And then like they hid their heads and then he shouted, and those people got fired. And that's why we're seeing other Hearthstone casters quit and protest.
Those casters got essentially blacklisted, right? They were contracted employees. They fulfilled their contract, and basically Blizzard said, we won't work with them again. Now they've said, we won't work with them for 6 months. Like they're kind of...
The casters got a 6 month?
Yeah, in a way, like the casters, they're basically saying the casters won't appear on any official Blizzard broadcasts for 6 months. Instead of them originally saying, we won't work with them again.
I feel like it's a little different for the caster versus a player. Because the caster directly works for the company that they're upsetting.
Well, I mean, no, they're contractors, so they're not directly working for. But also, I don't see. They can say we won't work with them for 6 months, but I don't see us seeing them again. I don't see them bringing the. It's fine. We'll just give them a temporary one. No, they're gonna pass over them for somebody who is more like
who didn't do that.
Yeah. Who they think will be more friendly to their wishes.
Yeah. There's no way they'd pick them back up.
Yeah.
Especially in 6 months when like a lot of people will have forgotten about it, like the internet does.
Yeah. Blizzard will remember. So, yeah, this, I think, I mean, on one hand, okay, so people are saying that the reason this is happening is because Blizzard Activision is partially owned by a company called Tencent, which is China-based. Tencent is a huge company that owns parts of a lot of companies. So after the Blizzard incident, everybody was looking at companies that Tencent has a stake in to see what they had to say. And Riot, being entirely Tencent owned, was a big target on their back. And how'd they handle it, Beckers?
So, kind of the first thing that happened, the first time Riot got into the arena for the whole Hong Kong stuff, was during a game, because it's a game place, a League of Legends game. There was a broadcaster that was talking about a team called the Hong Kong Attitude, and you could kind of see him stutter when he started to say the team name. Like he started to say Hong Kong, and then he like stopped and he said HKA, like he didn't want to say Hong Kong on the air, like he was kind of nervous about the whole situation. So then,
I imagine being a caster after this whole, you'd probably be like, what am I allowed to say? I would like a job, please.
Yeah, exactly. So then obviously immediately after that, everyone was like, Riot won't let people say Hong Kong on the air. Like, there were a bunch of articles coming out that were like, Riot won't let people say Hong Kong. Ooh, rumors are that Riot's censoring its casters, won't let them talk about Hong Kong. And Riot had to come out with a thing that said, let me look, here we go. It's, as a quote, a big dude with Riot said, to make this as explicit as possible, we aren't telling anyone to avoid saying Hong Kong. We just rather the team be referred to by its full name. There's been some confusion about it and we're working on it, basically, is what he said. So kind of the caster was just nervous. They didn't tell him not to say Hong Kong, is what they're claiming. Obviously, we don't know what happened because we're not Riot.
Or that
But
dude.
they were like, we're not telling people not to say Hong Kong. We didn't do that.
Yeah.
Right? So...
But they did later say something else.
Right. So then later, they came out with another statement from John Needham, the global head of League of Legends esports. This one's easier to see in the article, so I can tell you the guy's name. Basically, it just says, like, hey, players and casters, as a general rule, please focus about the game and the players. Like, not to say, you know, we're just trying to say, like, I don't think this is a good platform for us to discuss these extremely sensitive issues that could have big effects in the target countries or whatever. Like, basically, they made it sound like we don't want our game to blow up Hong Kong somehow.
Yeah.
Is how they made it sound.
Please do not say things that will get in the way of our money.
Yeah, basically, like, I mean, the real answer is Tencent owns our company.
Yeah, I mean...
So please don't talk about Hong Kong. Like, it's hard to say, like, what this means, because I don't think Riot's actually done anything to anybody about it.
I mean, nobody has tested that. No one has said anything, so...
Yeah.
But they're very much... It kind of sounds like they... You know, they're not saying, hey, we're one way or another, we won't get banned, but they are just like, don't talk about anything but the League of Legends video game. Your free speech is not what we want. We want you to play with the Jinx and the Misfortune, and that's it.
The letter, it says, these topics are incredibly nuanced and they require deep understanding. And, you know, it can't be fairly represented in the forum our broadcasts provide. So they're just like,
I mean,
this isn't a good place to talk about it. So don't. It's not because China owns us or anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like the person who, and I want to pull up his name, Chung Ninghua. Blitzchung is his handle, was trying to have a nuanced conversation in his post interview. He was basically kind of creating awareness, starting a conversation, which he very much achieved.
Yeah, he succeeded. Hella.
Yeah. How many people? How many people probably were not aware of the Hong Kong situation?
No, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I thought I didn't know Hong Kong was separate from China. Look at this. U.S. education right here. South Dakota.
Yeah. and he achieved that goal, and that's all it like takes is for you to create this, you say this thing and make it aware, and he achieved that goal, and just say, oh, we can't have a nuanced conversation on our deal. Like, you don't need to have a nuanced conversation to create awareness. And
I'm curious to see what'll happen. I wonder if the world's winners will be like, they'll win worlds and they'll stand up and they'll say free Hong Kong and then run off the stage.
I mean,
I'm curious to see what'll happen.
When they said that he lost his prize money, I was like, oh, I know some of these.
That's kind of messed up.
I know some of these tournaments, like the Fortnite one, I think had like $millions prizes. So like some of these tournaments are big money. I think he lost about $10,000 from his. It's like that's a lot of money, but that's I think there's like he in the end of the day he's probably made that money back, and he obviously got it back because he was awarded his prize money, but like he's probably made a name for himself that he has probably received lots of funds and stuff. $1 million, I think if you lose that, that's not going to be as easy to get back. But yeah, it'll be curious if anybody on Riot side or who, I guess in the Blizzard community, people are more willing to take the ban to lose it.
Yeah, that's the thing is, I feel like a lot of people, especially right now with Worlds going on, they aren't willing to jeopardize anything because they're still in Worlds. And if they're out of Worlds, then people care less what they have to say anyway, or if they can't play. So,
right.
But I think what would be, hypothetically, this won't happen. Hypothetically, it would be interesting if Faker were to say something, because Riot has gone really ham into like, we love Faker everywhere. Like all their videos about pro play and the 10-year anniversary video, all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Faker is all over all of it. They love that boy. Like,
is he Hong Kong person?
No, he's South Korean. But if he were to say something like, yeah, that Hong Kong shit's messed up, like I wonder what they would do, because they have they have gone really hard into their devotion to him as a player, so it's not like they can ban him and then have them be trouble in paradise. That would be interesting. I would be very curious to see what they would do.
Mm-hmm.
I think and I want to say this, I think there's probably some people who are going, is boycotting Blizzard, is any of this really going to help the people in Hong Kong? And I would say yes, because
it's going to teach these companies that they can't silence these issues.
Yeah, but also like this is affecting a major company in China. This is affecting the money that China is receiving due to these things, and they're freaking the American Revolutionary War was won because eventually Britain went, this shit's too expensive. Let's just go home.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I read somewhere Blizzard is a little different from League. Blizzard isn't quite so centered over in China.
I mean, and I think that's what's so crazy about this is that
it's only like 12% of their profits are from China.
Yeah.
So if the boycott costs them 12%, then they've already made a terrible investment. Which it could potentially.
Oh yeah, I mean this could have lasting repercussions for Blizzard and stuff down the line. You know, talking about these casters being blacklisted from Blizzard, like there will be a lot of gamers who just kind of compartmentalize, or a lot of gamers who don't care at all. Mm-hmm. There will be ones that go, well, I just have fun with Overwatch. I'm just going to try to ignore the bad stuff. And then there will be gamers who stick to their guns, who go, Blizzard is being shitty. I'm not supporting them anymore, and will never buy another Blizzard game. Hopefully. I am hoping that those people exist and, you know, blacklist Blizzard and you know, make them lose money for now on. And I don't know how many of those people exist, but those are the people that are going to affect change, that hurt Blizzard in their wallet and are going to make them rethink their decisions. But hey, Beckers,
that's me.
Wasn't there some cool League of Legends news that you're excited about?
Yeah, so let's forget that Riot's Chinese for the moment, and we're going to talk about all the good stuff that they did. Okay, so far they haven't kicked anybody out or taken their prize money away, so we'll just go ahead and continue talking about them like a good company.
Yeah, Riot is American based. They're Chinese owned, but they're American based.
Yeah, like it started over here, but now it's owned by China. Well, that's the thing is most of Riot's profits and their biggest play NA is like the smallest server as far as ranked league. And that's even though it started here, like even Europe has a bigger player base and ranked for league. But like Asia is definitely the biggest by far. So that's going to kind of be a topic here because League of Legends 10th anniversary is happening actively right now. And they had a stream to kick it off and they announced name a thing and they announced it is what happened. So basically one of the things, since we're talking about China so much, mobile games are massive over there, like way bigger than they are over here. Like for some reason, NA people have like this huge aversion to mobile games.
Well, I think that China is so condensed and everything that a lot of people are taking public, like most people don't have cars and stuff. They are taking public transportation and stuff, so they have a lot more time to be on their phones. Whereas here we're driving places. And
right.
And please don't.
You can't play things while you're driving.
Please don't. Yeah.
Wink. Okay, I'm just kidding. Okay, so that's one of their biggest announcements is, hey, guess what? League of Legends is coming to mobile. It's not League of Legends exactly. They're calling it Wild Rift. And it's basically League of Legends that is like simplified, that is cleaned up, made a little bit easier so that you can play it on your phone. And there's a bunch of like games that already do this that are called like, I think Arena of Valor and Mobile Legends are both games that are League of Legends ripoff for mobile. This is Wild Rift is the real one. And the games are supposed to last like 15 to 20 minutes so that it's more reasonable to play them on mobile. Yeah, and there's going to be a reduced champion pool just because it's a mobile game. Everything has to be simplified in order to play it. You can't be.
And you can buy all the skins again.
Yes, and you can buy all the skins again. So I'll be purchasing all of the Star Guardian skins over again. I think there's like 16 of them or something like that. No, 14 of them. I got them all.
Okay. Mobile version.
Mobile version of League. And then they also did they're coming out with a mobile version of Teamfight Tactics.
That I'm excited for. That because the Dota auto chess.
Underlords.
Yeah, that one's available on phones, and I was like, oh, that
has been available on mobile, I think, since like 2 weeks after the game launched on PC. So
yeah,
it was really fast.
That was like the first thing people started asking when Teamfight Tactics came out was like, hey, when's this coming out on mobile? And Riot was kind of like, we're working on it, but we've never done mobile before, so we'll get there when we come to it. Like kind of, but they said that the beta alpha stuff was going to come out in December for this. And these games, if you win, which I usually do, they last like 45 minutes, like it's kind of lengthy. They're going to need to clean this up a little bit if they're going to.
I think
turbo mode.
I mean, I think this is something. I imagine the Dota Underlords game probably lasts about the same length.
Does it?
Well, depending on when you get knocked out. If you make it to the end, it probably it does take about 35 to 40 minutes.
Yeah,
35 to 40
for a win. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the mechanics are simple enough for both these games that you could arguably play them while watching TV or something.
Absolutely, for the first half.
I 100% do.
Yeah, the last 10 minutes, you have a lot of people to move around.
Yeah, so I think that's one of the reasons people want this mobile. I have a tablet, and I think I would love to play Teamfight Tactics on my tablet while I'm watching TV.
And it's going to be cross-platform. So you can play against PC players at the same time. So they are definitely going to have to change some things up for that.
Another feature that Underlords already has.
I mean, it's not on phones yet, so...
Yeah, so it couldn't be cross-platform before that.
Yeah, right.
before there's another platform.
It's already available on all platforms at the same time.
Right, yeah.
So that's cool. What else?
So that's 2 things coming to mobile. I don't know. There's like 30 things, so I'm going to have to start going through these
faster.
a little quicker.
Just rapid fire these.
Right. So they have like an anniversary thing where in the client where they have free rewards for 11 days. One of the rewards is a beautiful skin where Annie, her bear is Timo. Like it's a whole big thing. I don't know. If you don't play this game, it's not that big of a deal, but it's freaking awesome. Honestly, it's just awesome.
There's a real pretty character. Got it.
Okay, yeah. Her bear is the Satan.
Okay.
There's a thing in the game where for events, periodically, they do something called Your Shop, where you get your own very special shop just for you, where skins blow in there at a discount price, and they base it off of champions you play, usually. But this time, for the very first time for the anniversary, they are allowing legendary skins to blow into this shop at huge discounts, which is a big deal. Big deal.
If you turn on a fan, do they blow quicker?
Yes. And then they are changing Summoner's Rift, which is the map.
Is that the
The
standard
League of Legends
mode?
Map, which is the standard mode, yes.
When they say League of Legends, they're talking about Summoner's Rift.
Usually. I mean, they have a couple other maps.
Oh, did they?
Like there's a 3v3 map called Twisted Tree Line, and then there's a for fun mode that's called that's played on Howling Abyss. Basically, there's no jungle. You just have to run straight at each other. If that's why it's for fun. Yeah, so they made changes to the main map.
Wait, isn't it a video game? Shouldn't they all be for fun?
No, ranked is serious business.
Okay.
I'm gonna be the next faker, Bryce. I'm gonna get there.
I mean,
someday.
I like to think that you're always a faker.
Oh, burn.
Okay,
Burn.
next thing.
Well, okay. Well, I didn't even explain the changes.
New map. They're pulling a Fortnite. They're pulling an Apex. They're putting a new map.
Well, it's the same map, but they changed it. They haven't changed it in a long, long, long time. Many years. They added new bushes, and now when you kill the dragon, the map changes depending on what dragon you killed. So, like, if a fire... Well, okay. It's actually the dragon that's alive at the time. If the fire dragon is up, I forget it. It burns down a whole bunch of the walls on the map. So, like, there's new pathways and stuff. And then when the earth dragon comes up, it puts up new walls. And now there's less spots to go through in the jungle. The ocean dragon comes up. There's new bushes everywhere. The bushes are bigger. Nobody knows where anybody is because everybody's in a bush. And then there's the wind one, and that one's just like there's little vortexes around the map, and if you run through them, you gotta go fast. That's what the dragons do.
Okay. Yep.
And there's more to it, but I'm not gonna go into it because you don't care if you don't play.
Yeah.
You probably don't care about this part either, but that's fine. I do. I'm excited. Next part.
Maybe the new map is what's gonna get you into League.
Yeah.
You just there's a lot of people who are just like, if they put a new map in, that's my jumping in point.
If you want to start playing League of Legends, you can contact me at Dr. Beckers with a Z on Twitter, and I will personally play League of Legends with you.
$9.99 an hour.
No, it depends how much I don't like you.
So it starts at $9.99
if I
an hour.
like you, it's free. Then if I start charging, I probably am not having very much fun. So there's a new champion that's coming out. Her name is Senna, which is a big lore thing because there's another character in the game called Lucian, and Senna's his wife who's been trapped in somewhere for 5 years. It's a whole big deal, and she finally busted out, and now they're back and they're hugging, and it's husband-wife time.
But is she evil?
Senna, well, that remains to be seen. Probably not. Her time, she's been changed by her time.
Like Kerrigan was in StarCraft?
Possibly. That all depends on Kerrigan's backstory that I know. Definitely. She's going to be a support marksman hybrid. We'll see what she actually turns out being, because sometimes Riot doesn't know what people are going to be after the players get a hold of them. They released all the music albums of League on Spotify, they are coming out with a League anime.
Oh, that looks so sick.
It actually looks really cool. I mean, it's an animated series. You know, I don't think it's technically anime. I don't know who animated it, so I can't say, but animated series, and it looks diggity dope.
Yeah.
With a capital D.
I would even if you are not interested, you are not a League player, I recommend checking out the trailer for it. It's called, what? Arcane?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's called Arcane.
It seems to be focused on Jinx, a very popular... It's like Jinx, like the most popular character in League.
Everybody loves her.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems to be focused on her, but like the world of... it seems like they're going to different... I don't know if it's planets or like... It seems like there's very different styles present.
I'm guessing it's probably set in Runeterra, which is the League of Legends world. I'm guessing, and there's a bunch of different places, very unique locations.
We saw the KDA girl. She's in there. One of them.
Okay.
Yeah. And so it seems to be representing a lot of cool stuff. And
they came out with another language for the client, which was Arabic.
Okay.
They released a Netflix documentary about League of Legends on the same day.
Nice.
They started up a charity, which is called the Social Impact Fund. And if you buy a Karma skin, 100% of the proceeds of the skin go to this charity, and you get to like vote which charities this fund donates to. It's a deal. Oh yeah, and by the way, the League of Legends mobile, it's not just coming out on mobile, it's also coming out on consoles.
What?
Which consoles? We don't know yet.
Okay.
But they said consoles.
PS2.
Probably. Nintendo 64, here it comes.
Oh, snap.
Yes. They came out, and this one's like already out. Like you can play this game right now if you're lucky. It's called Legends of Runeterra. It is a card game, and it looks to me like a Hearthstone ripoff. I'm just saying.
I would like. I mean, kind of Magic the Gathering too, but yeah, Magic the Gathering and Hearthstone have a lot in common. But yeah,
yeah. But visually, I honestly haven't spent much time watching it. Visually, it looks just like Hearthstone.
Yeah, it seems to have that kind of simplified art style that Hearthstone does.
Yeah. Yep. And I mean, it's on the computer, like it's on PC. So that's probably partly why it looks like Hearthstone, is how colorful and animated everything is. I don't know. So
all PC games look the same. Beckers said it here first.
Yes, you can sign up for it. You can sign up to play the beta, and then you have to wait for them to email you a code to get into the beta. So and you have a higher chance of getting a code if you watch streams of the card game. So, and that is why a famous streamer, Disguised Host, I don't know if you know that guy, he plays League and Hearthstone and TFT and all that kind of stuff. He rebroadcasted one of his Legends of Runeterra streams and had like 20,000 viewers on his rebroadcast because people were just sitting there trying to raise their chances of getting a code. They didn't actually care what was going on the screen. Okay, so that's the card game. Okay. They also released information on a tactical shooter, a first-person shooter.
A Overwatch, if you will.
An Overwatch, if you will. This one, honestly, it didn't look like an Overwatch ripoff. It kind of looked like a Counter-Strike ripoff, but they had special abilities.
That's what Overwatch is?
Yeah, is it?
It looked closer to Counter-Strike.
I thought I heard it described as kind of a mix of Counter-Strike and Overwatch.
Yeah, but honestly,
so Team Fortress 2.
It's extremely not done cooking yet. Like the examples that they showed in the video.
It's just wireframes that they showed.
Honestly,
it's just a 2D image that somebody's like moving around on paper. Ooh,
yeah, like the people weren't like moving super good. Like this is not what the game's gonna look like in the end. And if it is, it's gonna be a poop game. But that's not really a good one.
Untitled poop game? All right.
We'll see what it actually looks like.
#GameCorp.
Write that one down. Yeah. It's like, Bryce, write it down. So yeah, that's the first person shooter.
Go on. I think he's still fighting.
I'm sorry, my chair was squeaking and I was like, what's happening? I found out. It was my chair squeaking.
She pooped herself.
The chair.
There's another one that they released. A little bit of information on, and honestly, they didn't even talk about it. They just showed like a little clip of gameplay, and it looks like it's either like a Diablo 2, Diablo 3 type game, dungeon crawler, or possibly an MMO, or unlikely, but maybe it's an RPG like type game. But it was just like little League of Legends people fighting things in a forest on a plains or whatever.
I feel like Diablo-esque is the most likely. I mean, Minecraft's doing one of those. It's a common.
That's what it seems. What most people are betting on is that it's like a dungeon crawler type game. But again, they didn't say anything about it at all.
Be like, guess
they just
what
showed
this
the
is.
Clip. Here's what they said when they showed the clip. They're like, we really want people to explore the world of Runeterra, and then they showed that little video, and it's like, okay, so it's gonna be an MMO or a dungeon crawler, whatever it is. But I'm guessing that's a long ways away since they didn't talk to us about it.
We really want you to explore the world. This video is unrelated to that statement. These are unrelated things. Please watch this video.
They just kind of teased it a little bit. So there's also going to be a fighting game, League of Legends fighting game. That's self-explanatory, like right there. There's the people and they're fighting, and that's it. I don't know. I'm not interested in fighting games, so I don't have as much to say about it.
Is that all of it?
Nope, there's 2 more.
Oh my lord, this is long.
They released all this shit all at once.
Okay.
Riot Games has had one game until the start of this year. For like 9 years, they only ever had one game.
And now they have 10.
Yeah.
And then they released 1 million.
They're going full Blizzard in one shot.
Yes, they just blew their... I'm not going to say that. Never mind. They are also releasing an esports team builder game called Esports Manager. And Gamecast Corp released that first, so we win. And then a board game. They hinted at a board game. That's all. That's it.
Okay.
That's it. We're done. Whew.
Let's
go take 5.
Yeah, that is a lot. How big must they? I don't know. Either they have gotten stupid big, or they are spreading themselves too thin, or I don't know. This seems like too much to try and do at the same time.
They're not all coming out at the same time. Like right now, the mobile games and the card game are what's coming out right now, and those are all doable.
But they're working on them at the same time.
And they're working on yes, they are working on it all at the same time, which is right. Like no wonder the game's so unbalanced and AD carries are so underpowered.
Yeah, God. Take that, Riot.
They don't have a balanced team anymore. They're making new games. Gosh. Take that.
Yeah, some of this seems cool. I'm excited for the anime. I'm excited for Teamfight Tactics coming to mobile because that's the only League of Legends product I have attempted.
I'm excited for just about everything.
Except fighting.
Except the fighting game.
Well, as we transition into the next game company we will be talking about, we have to wait. We're doing a little check-in on how everybody feels about political speech. Epic Games says it won't ban Fortnite players for political speech. Tim Sweeney says his company would never make such a move. Basically, they are 40% owned by Tencent, so people are obviously, eyeing them. Anybody who's got, Tencent's got a stake in them. Everybody's kind of like, what's your deal? What's happening here?
Yeah.
But they said Epic is a U.S. company, and I am the controlling shareholder. Tencent's 40% shareholder. So basically, Tim Sweeney's like, I am in control. They do not make the rules. And he supports everyone's right to express their views on politics and human rights. So at least one company is standing up for free speech, political speech, and proper protest. And which is kind of funny about that. because he has said that they won't do it, they're probably the least likely to have someone protest there.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're going, oh yeah, it's fine. People aren't gonna, oh, you're cool then? Yeah, then we'll leave you alone.
Right.
But
Big brain.
yeah. But Epic is has been definitely in the news lately because the Fortnite game was sucked into a black hole.
Shut it down. It's done forever.
Yeah.
Huzzah!
There were
Cross your fingers.
There were so many streamers and stuff who were like, "Oh, Fortnite's over. It's just ended." And it's like, I mean, everybody freaking knew better. There was probably young kids who probably watched these streamers and was like, "What? No, it can't be." And who did not know better. But I am not a fan of this.
Fortnite.
Well, I'm not. Fortnite's whatever. I'm very intrigued with the save the world mode, but I am not a fan of people who kind of misrepresent things knowingly, who are hyperbolic about their stuff. I am not a fan of people being misled, and because there are people who will not know better, who will believe it, and I think that's unfair. But obviously, Fortnite came back, and it came back as Fortnite Chapter 2, with a new map. Which honestly, I looked at the overview of the map, and I was like, as someone who has not played a lot of Fortnite, I was like, this looks like the map. I'm sure there's a lot of different stuff. They did add in fishing to the game, where you can fish and pull guns and equipment out of the game. But Fortnite's back. There's a new map, and it seems to kind of be a fresh start for Fortnite. Apparently, I love what I kept seeing. Fortnite is the only game to get a sequel without ever leaving beta.
That's good.
So that is exciting for the Fortnite players, and there are a lot of them. But maybe there aren't a lot of people who know this little bit of Tetris trivia. I'm gonna ask my co-host a question that was asked on Jeopardy, and I'm gonna see which one of them can correctly identify it. The 7 rotatable blocks used in this video game have names like Orange Ricky, Hero, and Smash Boy.
Orange Ricky's my favorite, though.
I already know the answer. Yeah.
What?
Easy peasy.
Yeah.
What's the answer?
What is Lego?
Oh no.
Tetris.
Oh dang it!
Oh, both of you got it wrong because she didn't say what is.
Oh,
You
fuck.
got to answer. The correct answer is what is Tetris.
Oh my god. Suck my
The correct
dick.
response to the clue. Thank you very much, Bryce.
Yes. But the question.
Yeah, Bryce is wrong too.
Jessica Garcen gave the correct response to the clue, what is Tetris, based on the fact that it was 7 rotatable blocks. But the names Orange Ricky, Hero, and Smash were due to a meme that somebody posted and claimed, "Oh, I found the original booklet for Tetris. Did you know they had that the pieces had names?" And they claimed the names of the pieces. One of the L shapes is called Orange Ricky. The other L shape is called Blue Ricky. There's a Z shape called Cleveland Z. There's Rhode Island Z. The straight piece called Hero. The T shape.
That's my dog's name.
Yep. It's Tiwi. Yep. And there is a T shape called Tiwi, and the big block boy is called Smash Boy. And apparently the Jeopardy team did not recognize this as a fake thing and did not have people checking and
fact checkers were asleep at the wheel.
Yeah, nobody thought to check that, and that's just a funny thing. I do love that, Jeopardy posted, "Who knew that the blocks from @Tetris_official has such great names?" And then Tetris replied with one of the Will Smith going like, I don't know what you're talking about. So that's just a funny one. I figured I'd end after all of this discussion about some real stuff that hey, Jeopardy made a real boo-boo because of memes.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of misrepresenting things, there's a case where people will believe it. Okay. This takes us to the Patreon producers. Hey, we're almost 2 hours in. If you're still listening, you probably like this content. Like some of our Patreon supporters, Aaron C., Andrew Feisner, and returning Dragons Lucas. Thank you to all of our patrons. We appreciate all of you for as much or as little as you're able to support us. It helps make the show possible. It helps pay for things like hosting, equipment. I mean, the thing that allows you to look at the picture of Buny and Beckers costs me $15 a month. So there are costs associated with it, and you are helping me pay for those things, and I very much appreciate it. This brings us to the topic of the show. I feel like we've
covered this topic a whole lot.
We have said a lot about it, but
the answer is yes.
Let me say.
What's the question?
It's kind of like Jeopardy. You say the answer, and then the question is: does China have an effect on the kind of content we consume?
I like to consume a lot of pizza.
Is that content?
We're 2 hours into this podcast.
Yes.
We're 2 hours in. This thing needs to eat.
Okay, I think that the Chinese people represent a lot of money for a lot of American companies, so they will make decisions based on that money. So I think there's a Transformers movie that like the second half of it just like they end up in China and the Chinese military just looks super dope during it because they want to make China look good because that's where their money comes from.
Yeah,
they definitely have an effect.
Yeah, and
so
we're seeing that effect a lot. Like South Park is banned in China because they criticize China. Apparently China is telling the NBA what they can and cannot say due to people, standing up for Hong Kong and other such things. China has money. Money comes power. China's using that power for their own means. And, that's having an effect on what we in America are dealing with. Like that American companies are making things for China that we are also consuming, and we are seeing that. And I don't know what to say about that, but that is something you need to think about when looking at content and realizing like, oh, this seems to have a lot of Chinese like stuff in it. There's a reason. Okay, questions and comments. Do you want to be part of the show? Go to readysetgamecast.com/submit to submit a question, comment, or your favorite person whose name starts with a B for us to read on the show. Erin sends in a question, and she asks, what's the best meal of the day? Breakfast, lunch, or dinner? Buny.
Brunch. Easy.
Beckers.
Dinner.
I'm gonna say brunch as well, because I don't want to be awake when breakfast should actually be occurring.
Exactly. But you still get all the delicious breakfast food.
Yeah.
I like bread, and I like dinner rolls, and I like pizza, and those are all more suited to dinner.
Okay. You're very far from your mic. Beckers asks a
2
question.
hours in.
Beckers asks a question, and she says, which bear is best?
Bears eat beets. Bears beets Battlestar Galactica.
Okay, I'm gonna say the one in Alaska, the white bear.
Which is
polar bears.
Those aren't in Alaska.
They're probably.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, they are.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
No, they're not.
Polar bear's best bear. Bunny, what's best bear?
I might say the sloth bear.
Okay.
That's the thing. Look it up. It's in Asia.
Beckers doesn't know anything about bears.
Polar bears are only found in the Arctic, you idiot.
It's Arctic in Alaska.
Did you know that the Arctic Circle goes through Alaska?
No.
Beckers, what's best bear?
Sun bear.
Okay.
Because they look like they
got a
need
big
help
old
to brush their
sunspot on their
teeth.
chest.
Okay. Bob sends in the comment and he says no. Housekeeping.
No, you, Bob. No, you.
Housekeeping. Go to lastgeek.com for links to all the podcast services, including iTunes, Spotify, and Stitcher.
Oh my gosh.
As well as the video version is on YouTube.
There are parts of Alaska that have polar bears.
Weird. It's not like anybody told you that. If you like the show, please subscribe, rate, and review it on iTunes and Stitcher. It helps us grow and become more powerful. Beckers, flex. Bunny. Yay, we all did it.
These darn guests not knowing when to flex.
It says so on the outline.
Well, I wasn't looking at the outline. I'm looking at a map of polar bear habitats.
Other Last Geek stuff you should check out. New Game Make Corp episode is out there. It is about whatever we talked about a couple days ago.
Roombas.
And you already forgot.
Everything
Roombas.
Dope.
Yeah, everything changed when the fire Roombas
Fire
attacked.
Roombas attacked, yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty good one.
She demanded that is what it's called.
I begged for that title. I
can't wait for the fish and ships episode, as well as the other one that you're working on.
Merch.
Poop Simulator? No, it's Untitled Poop Game.
Mm-hmm.
Merch store exists. I currently have hung up 2 posters in my living room featuring artwork of me and Beckers, and also artwork of me, Darian, and Teddy from podcasts you might listen to. If you would like to hang up that artwork or wear it on your shirt, or there's blankets available, there's leggings available, you can have all of this cool stuff. You can wear it, you can hang it, whatever you want. It's available at lastgeek.com/merch.
Put your left foot in, take your left foot out.
And
Shake it all about.
as I've mentioned, October 26th, starting at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time, Bryce and friends, that's me, will be playing.
I'm friends.
We'll be playing games for 24 hours straight to raise money for Extra Life, a charity supporting Children's Miracle Network hospitals. Please consider going to lastgeek.com/extralife to donate and watch the stream. We'll have some cool stuff during the actual stream where when we hit different money goals, we'll be doing stuff like eating gross baby food, eating really spicy peppers and playing Mario Kart, and getting shocked and eating bean boozled beans. Yep, it's going to be a good time. October 26th. Tune in. Help donate. $5, we spin a wheel. You probably have $5. Okay, this brings us to the end of the podcast. I will now ask Bunny, where can people find you?
Twitch.tv/superkillerbunny. Sometimes I stream there. I just moved, so I'm still in moving and unpacking and setting everything up. That's really where the only place you can find me other than Twitter at superkillerbunny, but
Okay.
find me if you want.
Beckers.
That's me. I'm Beckers. You can find me on Twitter at Dr. Beckers with a Z, and occasionally on Twitch at Dr. Beckers with an S.
Hi, I'm Bryce. You can follow me at lastgeek.com, lastgeek on Twitter, lastgeekplays on Instagram, lastgeek on YouTube, facebook.com/lastgeek, twitch.tv/lastgeekplays, mixer.com/lastgeek.
2 hours.
That's all the social media platforms that exist. Thank you for listening to the podcast, and we will see you again in 2 weeks. Goodbye.
Bye.